jungle, lion in the concrete jungle, lion in the jungle, lion in the concrete, yeah.
And I know she'll be the death of me, at least we'll both be numb. And she always gets the best of me, the worst is yet to come. But at least we'll both be beautiful and stay forever young. This I know. Cheers to another episode.
Cheers, bro.
Another day alive.
Doesn't feel like it's been as long.
No, it doesn't.
Cutting down on them.
Another day alive, man.
What you got
Another
on?
opportunity, man.
I
I got on that every little thing's gonna be all right.
Oh, nice. Hit him with the old Bob Mars.
That's the motto.
Yeah, it's a good way. It's a good way to go.
That's what I'm saying, man. You woke up today. Your heart's beating.
Yeah.
A lot of people would say,
Well,
it's got
hold
to be
on.
for purpose.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah, it's still there, yeah.
You never know.
So, as long as you got that going for you.
I picked no pain in
Everything's
the
gonna be
last
all
this
right.
or that, so I just had to make sure it didn't come to fruition.
Yeah, you're covering your bases.
Yeah.
No, man. No emotional pain. You'll be all right. Life will be okay.
Yeah, we'll be good. I would ask you how you been, but we
Saw
just
you
recorded
recently.
a couple days ago.
Well, not only that, but I saw you after that.
Yeah. We went to a little balloon fest.
Mhm.
Wasn't much of a balloon fest.
Nah.
It was more just a fest.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a spot where they, let off, a bunch of hot air balloons, and weather didn't permit them to ascend.
Even though it was beautiful out.
So they had a bunch of beer and
Yeah, it was
good
cool,
food
man.
trucks.
I like going to places like that.
Mm-hmm.
What about you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do.
Um,
I don't like the crowds that go with it, all the people.
Yeah.
Nor do I like all of the parking stuff that you have to deal with to try
Oh,
and
yeah,
get
the
to
whole-
a venue.
Yeah, that was annoying.
But once you're
But it
in
was
there,
an open space.
yeah, there's a lot of room.
There was wasn't people all on top of each other. I always get inspired going to places like that because what I want to do is have a food truck like
Right.
that or a stand.
Just got to get the juices flowing.
Gets the juices flowing and also just gets different ideas out there of what you could do.
Yeah.
And I've been to a couple of those things and talked to some of the vendors. I used to work for a vendor that did festivals and stuff like I was telling you about. And it's fun, man. So that would entail the whole job of you're not working a 9 to 5. Oh, there's a festival. We're going out to the festival. You get one or two people to work with you.
Yeah.
You serve what you think people like, what you would like, and go from there.
And make some cash.
It's all like a trial and error thing too, probably.
Yeah.
When I first had the idea and wrote my business plan and everything with my girlfriend, we had the idea to sell higher end gourmet food from the food truck.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the way to go is people don't always want to eat healthy, especially from a place like that. They just want something good.
Thinking about revamping the whole business model.
Yeah.
Changing the logo, the
Yeah.
name, the whole nine.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Margins play a huge part in especially if you're trying to have fresh.
Cold, hard cash.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's interesting. You can go one of two ways. People have gone the healthy route and have made it work, and then you can go the more inexpensive route. And then, so the smart thing to do is gauge your demographic. Where are you at?
And since I've been down here, that's what I've noticed.
Right.
Is it's just about they just want good greasy food basically.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure there's festivals and certain things that would want something like that, but for the most part, what I like to make and my favorite thing to do is healthy bowls. But that just entails a meat, some rice, and some veggies.
Simple.
Mix that shit up, which is something I still want to do.
Yeah.
So I'll incorporate the healthy side to it, but also throw some greasy shit in there.
Yeah.
Trial and error.
Hey, man. Hey, listen. So, I think that's great. Okay. And I hate that I have this quality of me,
No.
personality, but
Throw it
I
out
have
there, bro.
But I have to. Do you have some sort of moral dilemma? I know you don't, but just to pose this perspective to you, could there be thought that there might be a moral dilemma there in the fact that we talk about sugar, we talk about these negative things that we're introducing to our body, how they cause inflammation, how they do all of these things, but knowing that. But
Do you ask
man.
me if I have that? No,
Yeah.
because if they don't like what I got, they're gonna go to the next guy over
Bro,
who's
you
got that
sound like the
shit.
crack dealer from '82.
Well, shit, bro. Sometimes you gotta eat.
Everybody got to eat, and they already want it, so you give the people what they want.
Yeah.
That's really what it is. Nah, man.
Somebody put it to me the other day. It's like trying to find a way out of the workforce, and like unknowingly, that's kind of been my mission for like a long, long time.
Yeah.
And doing something like that, you're still working, but you're not in the like workforce for somebody else. So that's the goal.
Not in the system.
And that goal will be coming to fruition within this next year or two.
Yeah.
So saving
That's
up
what's
money
up,
for
man.
it, and yeah, I'm excited.
That's what's up.
I've learned a lot since I've been down here. Like, I thought that I could do all this stuff last year. Never, like I cooked like 7 years ago,
Yeah.
but never really being like ingrained in the kitchen and learning all the equipment. Like I cook at home and stuff.
Right.
But actually learning how to work all this equipment, the proper way to clean it, maintain it. I've learned so much. Like, you could even ask Montana. Like, I cooked something last night. Like, my cooking's like on a different level. So,
That's what's
everything
up, man.
happens for a reason.
Yeah. Maybe
And-
you needed this time to get that experience under your belt.
And what I've learned, just even further than just this, is that, and we've talked about it before, is just time. Time invested in something. That's what makes you gain expertise in it.
Yeah.
You can't just be good at it.
Practice makes perfect.
And the more time you put into it, the more that you're gonna gain. You can't be a master in 5 months, in a year. You have to like ingrain yourself into it and just like embody that. And I'm just learning a lot about like the value of putting time into something. And how just your mindset starts to change, and your skill set starts to change. It's really cool, man. Like I said in the last episode, I feel like I'm like growing up a lot.
Yeah.
mentally.
Well, I think you are.
Yeah. So yeah.
Whenever you get a little bit of time from your busy life, go on back and watch like the first episode, or maybe we'll play that one the one I said I have 001 before we did the video. Just look at how far you've come from then till now.
Hell yeah.
And I mean, it's just been, that episode in particular was like March, so it's just been a couple months, really.
Yeah.
Ain't even been a year.
Yeah, I looked yesterday. We dropped our first episode June 13th.
Yeah, our first official episode.
First official
Yeah,
episode June 13th. I mean,
that's crazy, right? It's about to be November.
yeah, but it seems like we've been doing it forever.
Right. But yeah, man, no, going back to your point, I think that's cool that you had, that you've taken some time now to get in there, to get, around all this stuff,
Hell yeah.
just to get exposure to that environment. Because, of course, that's only going to benefit you moving forward as you try to embark on your business idea.
Because I think if I did it last year when I wanted to, I still believe in myself that I would have got it done, but it would have been a lot more disorganized as opposed to now. So it's
Good.
just cool learning that. It's just cool learning that stuff.
Now, you need to keep in mind what I said, and I am serious.
Kill myself?
We're going to, but before you do that, we've got to, I need to take you down there, man, to the town,
Kannapolis?
to K-Town, yeah, to show
Oh,
you,
yeah,
to
I
show
was
you what they
telling-
have coming up.
I was telling Montana about this
Because
same
that's a
thing.
serious idea, man. I mean, it really is. It would be ground floor, entry
Yeah.
level before this takes off into anything.
Yeah.
And mark my fucking words, it's gonna take off into something, because everybody in that town, and I've been living there for a long time.
Yeah.
Everybody in that town thinks it's a horrible idea. It's a
Yeah.
bad idea. Why are they relocating this baseball stadium? Because they're stuck into their old ways.
Yeah.
But me not being from there, I'm able to see a larger
Yeah.
external picture. And dude, they are setting this central area up to be a fucking popping business spot.
Yeah.
And this has been 7 years in the making now, at least. Before I ever left there, it was in the
Yeah, I
making.
remember when they started building all that stuff down there.
Because, yeah, exactly. They blew up the mill, dude. So it's going to be a prime spot, man. If people aren't already jumping on it, I would at least start inquiring.
Yeah, I'm sure there's some people on it. But what's interesting, what I've noticed is, Charlotte is starting to grow so much, but it's a real small city. So what it is, just like where I come from, right by New York City, it's like it's a hub
Highly
of
dense.
so many people live there, but then they start to expand and they live in the suburbs 15 minutes away, 20 minutes away, 25 minutes away, and those areas get very populated. So, you know, Kannapolis, Mooresville, these places are starting to become like heavily populated, even though
Yep.
they already have been. But
Cost
you
of
get what
rents,
I'm saying?
yeah, cost of rents coming up
Yeah.
now. I mean, it's you can see it.
Yeah, it's a cool area, man.
Yeah, well, it's just interesting because it's a ground floor kind of thing. It's that demographic you're talking about that would, cater to your food
Yeah.
truck concept. So, just a thought.
Hell yeah.
I think
yeah,
you'd
so-
personally be stupid not to do
No,
it.
yeah, I'm
just to be
gonna.
honest.
I'm gonna, bro.
Like if I were trying to be in the food truck business.
I take your advice.
Plus, you've said in the past how you've looked up Charlotte, and obviously Charlotte's prime location,
Yeah,
prime
yeah.
real estate for food truck. But you said you looked it up, and applications have been months to
Yeah,
even
sometimes
get
it
in
takes
there.
a long time. And also
what I'm saying.
something interesting to add on to that is you have to have a commissary, which is basically a small commercial kitchen where you do your food prep and all that stuff. You can't do it on the truck. So places around here are a little expensive. Maybe there's one out there that's like on the cheaper side because there's not as many things there. So that's something to look into
Yeah.
too.
Tutu. Got a little work to do.
Fuck yeah, bro.
That's exciting, though.
Yeah.
That's exciting, man. And then just like you said in previous episodes, you just got to take a couple of steps, make a few little short list of goals to knock out,
Yep.
knock those out, move on to the next list until eventually you're standing behind a grill in your fucking food truck with Shane's
There you go,
goulash
bro.
on top.
Shane's goulash. That's hilarious. To switch topics, some I've been, and we've talked about this stuff before. Is
Getting
like,
back to killing myself.
so we've talked about like our eating habits and like, I can only speak from my personal situation. Growing up, I didn't know the consequences of what it is that you do to your body. Not only in just the way of eating, but in everything. Like even with alcohol, like I thought that it was just something that people drank, like
Right.
just like soda or something like that. I didn't know until like a later age that like
My parents got a problem.
yeah, but not only do my parents got a problem, but like it's kind of almost poison. Learning from like what my mom's going through, just how the liver isn't supposed to take that and the
Right.
damage that it does to it. But I
Right.
always thought, like, I just never thought of the consequences of like eating the shitty food and how it play. Like I wasn't taught that.
Yeah.
So I've had to learn that stuff later on in life. Because not even like one conversation was had about
Right.
it.
And some people from the outside looking in might look at somebody like us and be like, how do you not know that?
exactly, and I
But
think
that's
that's
a
how
good
it
point.
is.
Not one conversation was ever had that, hey, this is abnormal.
Yeah, so I feel like, in some ways, I feel late to learning some basic life things.
Right.
Because we raised ourselves, and if there's information that we don't know, how could we teach it to ourselves? So I'm just starting to learn. I've known now for a while that alcohol is bad and stuff like that. But I'm saying like the real truth of it, the consequences of like eating like shit and treating your body like shit, or like not exercising and like putting, foreign substances into your body, and it's just kind of changing my perspective about a couple things. Like I don't want to have a shorter life because of enjoying myself for a small amount, like for a few moments, So I'm just trying to like keep that perspective in mind, like, and, life changes, thoughts change and stuff like that, but I want this to like stay in mind, like see what my mom's going through with this, understand that, I have been drinking since I was in high school. Like there's been months that I haven't had a drink, but there has been times where like, going out with my friends and stuff, that's what we did.
Right.
Like I thought that's just what people did. I wasn't knowledgeable on, and I was younger, so I'm sure like I'm fine. Like I've had blood tests, like
Right.
all my shit is good,
Right.
but eventually it catches up to you if you don't manage it. Like I asked my mom, I was like, Like, when did you know you had a problem? Um, and for her, it was like somewhere around her 30s, like, because you don't start off an addict.
Right.
Like, she, when she was my age, probably did what I did and just drank with friends like once in a while, but it progresses like without you even noticing.
For sure.
So it's just something like to keep in your brain. And I really wish that somebody would have taught me that stuff. And I can't do anything about it that nobody did teach me, but I want to make sure to do that to like my kids.
Yeah, that's what I was about to segue into. Is that's the kind of thing that I think about is like the future of your lineage, so to speak. Like we are all, in some way or another, just cogs in a wheel.
Yeah.
We're just dust in the wind. I think that was the song I was wanting to start off with.
You should.
It'll be coming. Because I don't know if you've ever seen videos of like it's a video of a person, right, and it's a continually zooming out video, and like it zooms out to Earth, and then it shows, and so when you think about it, like we are all just very small pieces of this puzzle. But getting back to we were born and educated with we're behind the eight ball, like we've got a lot of work to do. But now that we are learning that, moving into our 30s, it sucks that we had all these years that we didn't know this stuff. But, for our future kids, it's like we're just going to continually, make our family name better and better.
Yeah. And that's been my my like philosophy and my viewpoint from like an early age. And I don't know exactly where it came from, probably the people I looked up to and like interviews I listened to. But it's just always been in my head to like change my name, change like the family that I come from, start a new like mindset and all that stuff. Not that my family is shitty people, but there's just ways to improve like your lineage and make it to where the struggles that you had, your son don't have, and then the struggles that they have, their son or daughter don't have.
So let me pose an interesting thought that I just now had, right? Like you just said, like starting anew. It's almost like as if some sort of extinction happened.
Yeah.
All of humans got wiped out, and what was left is you, and just you to carry on the West name. And now you truly are starting new.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about how I lost my mom, I lost my dad, and who both in their own way were good people and loving parents. Had many flaws, right?
Yeah.
So, I lost both of them. I don't really have much family left on my side, because I was never close to anybody else. So, in some weird way, I am getting an opportunity to start anew. The only face contact that my son will ever have with somebody who has the last name Bass, hopefully my brother gets better and he'll be one, but if not, it's just me.
Yeah.
And my wife, of course. So how will the future of the Bass name be shaped? I do have a weird opportunity, don't I?
Yeah, that's why I love that you phrased that, like, so you could have a negative mindset and like feel bad for yourself, or you can see it as an opportunity, which in some ways it is.
Yeah.
That's cool, man. That's a good way of looking at it.
Weird thought I just had when you were talking about, starting new.
That's what it is. I told you, when being away from my parents for so long, I saw it as an opportunity to not be ingrained with their ways of thinking, and it gave me an opportunity to come up with my own mind.
Yeah, it's stepping out of that environment.
It's a blessing.
People say you can't really be a product of your environment, but I think in many ways you can. In some way or another, you're going to take a piece of your environment with you.
You can't. It's inevitable.
Right?
Yeah.
But definitely stepping outside, getting the chance to step outside of your environment does give you a chance to get away from all these perspectives you've ever known.
Yeah.
Or ever been raised around or taught about. And get to experience the world around you for what it really is and come to be more of who you are or who you're supposed to be.
Yeah, like it's and if you come from a good family and like you're taught these certain things, like maybe you don't need to separate yourself as much like that, but if your environment is that of something destructive, which happens when there's substance abuse in a family, is like there's these forms of self-destruction, to bring yourself away from that, even because you may think that your mindset in some, if you're involved in that family and you think your mindset is the opposite of that, that's good, and that's why
Yeah.
you'll be different. But your mindset is only so opposite because of your defense towards your
True.
situation.
Right.
So just time away from that, we'll probably have the same thought process of that, oh, I'll never be like that, but it won't be as clouded. You won't have that tunnel vision,
True. Yep. I know exactly what you mean.
So
That's hard to put into words.
yeah,
You did pretty good.
that's always like my problem. Like inside of my head, like I have so much of it, and then when I explain it, it doesn't always
Yeah.
come
Well,
out.
even still, I mean, that's a difficult concept to articulate.
Yeah.
But I mean, I know exactly what you mean.
Fuck yeah, man.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I mean, it's just got to be the distance and just being out of the environment. It just provides you that clarity. It's like, you know what? Maybe you do become aware of your own defenses. Like the only reason I was
That's
thinking
what
like
it
that
is.
is because I was just trying my best not to be like my parents. I keep thinking about the Breakfast Club scene there at the end where
Yeah.
they're all like, "I'll never be like my parents."
Yeah, and it's like, so, like, what do you do? Are you gonna, like, you take in all this knowledge, you take in all this information of these perspectives, and like, you have to take it on as your own and understand that some of your beliefs are that of a defense. Like, so that's why just study your thoughts, study your strong emotions. When you have a strong emotion towards something, it's for a reason, and don't just think, well, oh, it's always like that's just how it is, or that's how it's been there. Like your strongest emotions, those are the ones that you need to work through, and maybe you're right, but you won't know that until you work through it, and I guarantee you're wrong about some of those.
Yeah.
So that's what I've been trying to do, is like study your strong defenses.
Yeah. I think a lot of times we just operate through life on autopilot. I know that I do.
Everybody.
I think the humanistic reaction is to react and not think about the origin of that thought or the
Yeah.
origin of that emotion. I think rarely do we sit back and think, why did I actually get so angry at that? Or
I think that's
this,
where
that.
things are headed, though, because we don't have those things from the past that boggle our mind down. Like we have that freedom nowadays to start to have some of these thoughts.
Yeah. I mean, life still comes, so
Of course.
so it's going to continually try and cloud you. But like forgot it.
But it could just come from perspective. Like back in the day, they probably didn't know about psychology as much and stuff like that, and know that, oh, well, this is a defense thing that I have. Maybe I should question it. Like all that comes with perspective and new
Yeah.
information.
Right.
So I feel like now is a time that we're embarking on all this stuff. You've never heard as much about like mental health and all this stuff that plagues people and humans everywhere as much as you do now.
It's true.
So I think that's where everything is headed.
I remembered it.
Okay.
And I listened to everything you just said, by the way.
Zig, take some notes.
You're going to make me forget it again.
Sure.
It's like this guy who I've mentioned before, an animal rights activist, his name's James Aspie. He gained some fame because he spent 365 days not talking, and it was more of an introspective journey. And it's something that Jordan Peterson has talked about in the past also. He's very big on, I can't remember, he has a famous phrase. He's very big on doing a lot of self-reflection and trying to self-analyze emotions. To try and become the best version of you that you can be.
Yeah.
And that's another philosophy. It's like another biblical thing. It's like, how can you try and remove the splinter from your brother's eye when you've got a plank in your own? It's like we have to first fix ourselves to present the best version of ourselves to the world that we can, if we hope to help anybody.
Yeah.
Least of all ourselves. But yeah, I could see a lot of benefit with that thing James Aspie did. Like if you're not talking, if you're like silent for a whole year, it's a form of, you're self-internalizing everything.
Yeah.
You are with yourself.
No, it's very interesting. We could never do that because this would be a boring ass podcast. We're just sitting here staring at the camera.
Yeah.
You guys,
It's like, I wonder, what are they really thinking? We're gonna see that in like the next 2 to 3 years. Somebody's gonna have a
Yeah,
podcast
fuck,
like
man.
that with millions of subscribers.
these people are like, dude, these guys are geniuses.
They just cannot execute. That's the biggest problem. They can't execute on any of these ideas.
Oh,
The this or that's popping. seen a lot of people.
Yeah, I know.
And it's not, I couldn't say it's coincidental that we released the this or that segment around the same time that I'm seeing all these things pop up.
I checked some analytics. We got some viewers in India, New Zealand,
Shout out to New
and
Zealand.
Australia.
Shout out to India. And shout out to Australia. Hey, fun fact. I just heard this today or yesterday. New Zealand was ranked the sexiest accent. People from New Zealand, sexiest accent.
Zealand. Really?
Fact check. Yep. I don't remember like who conducted the poll or the survey, what magazine,
Story of my life.
but it happened.
Yeah, buddy. So I'm not gonna try to trick you this week.
You never could.
You still gotta watch it back. I tricked you the last 2 weeks, bro.
All right.
But we're about to get into some fucking this or that. Turn up. Let's go. All right. And
Settle down, people. Settle down.
I'll get a 50-cent quote for you next week.
Settle down.
All right. Something simple. Would you rather read minds or be able to see into the future? Read minds or see into the future?
I think I'd rather read minds.
Why?
It's going to help me here in the now. You know, it would just be a really cool, interesting thing.
Yeah.
There could be negatives to it. I could see that. But I think that would be cool. And seeing into the future, although it could be cool, and I guess there'd be benefits. Like,
there's benefits to both.
What are those winning lotteries numbers going to be on Wednesday?
Yeah, there you go.
But at the same time, like, I feel like seeing into the future would kind of kill, like, what's the point of living anymore? Almost. It's like, I already know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
It's like spoiling a movie, the end of a movie. It's like, well, what's the point?
That's true. But being able to read people's minds, you would be also able to see, like, just the shittiness in humanity too, you know?
Or maybe the reality in humanity.
Well, yeah, the reality.
It's like, you know what? This is the real world.
Yeah.
What's inside everybody's heads that never gets said.
Well, I heard somebody mention this before. I think it was Joe Rogan. And it's so interesting to think about. It's like, we have no idea how other humans' experiences are.
True.
All we know is ourselves. And how you just said before, like, you know, it's hard to articulate some type of thoughts or feelings.
Mm-hmm.
Like, all we do is our best version of what it is that's in here.
Right.
But our experience is it's different for everyone. We have no idea. Just because we're all humans doesn't mean that it's all exactly the same.
Right.
It's just a really crazy thought to think
I'm sure
about.
it's pretty similar, though.
I'm sure it's similar, but how would you ever know?
I don't know.
You'll never know.
Hearing people talk about the way in which they felt experiencing certain things, certain tragedies or triumphs in life, I could be like, you know what? I've reacted similarly in the past.
Yeah, and I've been able to share those thoughts with people too, but there also have been things that, like, I haven't even been able to explain before.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
It's just
and isn't it crazy the way in which we can so freely articulate things in our own head, but we can't get it to come out here? I bet you a lot of people, the majority of people, can do the same thing. They also have the same issues. So what if we could read minds, and therefore you could think of our consciousnesses as being connected, and then we could so freely, what you can't articulate out here, how would our conversations be then?
Well, that's the singularity.
We would access a higher dimension of communication skills.
That's where they think technology's going.
I mean,
The singularity.
I could see it.
All minds mold and mesh. Where that'd be weird though. There's something like,
It would kill humanity.
yeah, it would kill, like,
Everything that
a
makes
lot of
us
things.
unique about humans, it would kill it. We would all be one.
Yeah.
Why? We'd lose all diversity.
Yeah.
I could see a lot of negatives to that.
No, me too. But so what was the this or that?
the this or that was, would you rather read minds?
Or see into the future?
Yep.
Shit.
What would you go with, man?
I'd rather see into the future.
You know exactly when you're gonna kick the bucket.
Yeah, you know when you're gonna kick
When
the
your
bucket.
girl's gonna kick the bucket.
Yeah, you know, like
How you're gonna go.
it's all about them lottery tickets. Let's
Yeah,
be
let's
real.
be honest.
It's just about the lottery
Money over
ticket.
bitches.
I wouldn't even use. It's like when you get like a Christmas gift that you use once and you never use. I would just specifically use it for the
Just
Mega
for the
Millions once, and then be like,
Be
ah,
done
fuck
with
it.
Dude, you could help some homeless guys out, man. Look, here's a dollar.
They have
Here's a
medieval diseases, Brad.
Go. Choose these numbers, bro. You'll be good.
Oh, that would be cool as fuck.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But unfortunately, they got the plague still, according to this guy.
Bubonic, bro. That shit is everywhere. But
See into the future?
yeah, I see into the future.
No, it's too much, man.
But it's been a fun little episode.
A little small one, a little short one. Oh shit.
It's always nice to, like, you know, I know we recorded just a couple of days ago, but we only recorded 2 times this last month. So, you know, getting back on track. I know I've had a lot going on and stuff, and that's kind of taken away from us being as consistent, but, you know, that's life. Shit happens. I'm sure you guys can understand and relate. But it means everything to just keep coming back in here,
Yeah.
hanging out, talking through our shit. I got work after this, so like I'm sure just this like refreshing of just like positivity is gonna help me out throughout my day.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, let's start this week off fucking positive. Keep moving forward.
Yep.
Keep progressing. Let's accomplish some goals. Write something down.
Make a little list.
Join the journey. Fucking subscribe, share this shit. Let's keep building. What
Yeah.
you got?
I think you said it, man.
There we go.
Appreciate y'all for tuning in.
As always, peace, everybody.